Hey, I am Ben, and this is a day in my life. So this is where it all begins. This is my home. In the morning, start off, get up, get a cup of coffee, and then I'm either headed to the gym, a physical training session, or practice.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Physical training sessions I do, I work with a physical trainer, and he puts me through a regimen. Typically I'll do twice a week with him. It's an hour session. A lot of dynamic movement. There's strength training. There's more cardio-based stuff. There's agility, kind of explosive movements. So he really kind of ties in a lot of things to make it fairly dynamic. Then on the other days when I'm not with him, I'll mix in kind of some of my own workouts, usually at the Lifetime Fitness. Typically with that stuff, I might be doing anything from hip mobility to leg day. It really just kind of depends on what I hit with the trainer in that week and what I feel I need to work on. Typically, I don't eat in the mornings. I prefer to do my physical stuff first. Once I've done the training session and the practice session, then I typically get a smoothie with some protein in it, or I either come home and just make one of those, and then I will lead that into lunch, or sometimes I'll do the smoothie in between the training session or the practice session. That can really vary, but definitely important to get some protein in the body after a workout.
Not very good.
So the most important part of my day is probably the practice session, which is just practicing pickleball. That's typically like 2 to 3 hours, and it's just drilling. So I almost exclusively drill with Colin, my brother. We get a foursome going like once a month. 2 to 3 hours of various drills and just stuff we think we need to work on. That'll either be close to before or after the gym or the physical training session. After the practice session is done, I typically either stretch there or I'll come home first and stretch. But either way, it's important to stretch after any kind of practice session for me, especially on hard court. Definitely locks up the hips and stuff. And once I'm done with that, I'm pretty much done with most of the physical parts of my day. Once I'm home, depending on the time, typically it'll be around lunchtime, so I'll either make a smoothie or make lunch or something to replenish the body.
So let's start with the name of the sandwich.
I just call it a gourmet sandwich. There's really no other name for it. It's sandwich on steroids. It's not your basic ham and cheese and whatever bread. This is toasted sourdough with truffle aioli. It gets very fancy, so it's a gourmet sandwich. That's my best name. So you got to start with sourdough. Sourdough is the best bread. That's just what it is. And you toast it, lightly toasted, brown, perfect. And we're gonna do a roast beef base on the meat. Of course, you got to have your condiments here. Got some truffle aioli and some Dijon mustard. Lovely. And something I discovered recently is sliced goat cheese. I love goat cheese, but sliced form is harder to find. But these days you can find it. So that's what we're starting with. And then we're gonna cap it off with some spinach, some tomato, and some salt and pepper. So let's take a look at the result. And now we have our mildly toasted sourdough here. Truffle aioli. Truffle is it's just special. Just goes well with so many things. It's crazy. And aioli, much fancier than mayonnaise. It might be the same thing, but I like to call it aioli just to make myself feel better. Got a little Dijon for the spice. Oh, look at that. Moving on, cheese first, the base. Now we got our shaved roast beef. And you know, I like to say never be shy with the amount of meat you're putting on. Better to have too much than too little. Going back for more? Yes, I am. Salt and pepper, a little added flavor. Put it on the Dijon so it sticks nicely. Practically Gordon Ramsay right now. Slice a little fresh tomato. We're gonna save the tomato. Spinach is also an important part. Not the most common sandwich addition. I find it delicious and it's very healthy. So, and then we're gonna use the tomatoes to tamp down the spinach so it doesn't get all unruly on me. And that should just about do it. Smash it down. Hear the crispy crunch there. Lovely. We are all done. There you have my gourmet sandwich. Splendid. Can really be a number of things after that. Usually I try to relax because I'm pretty tired after doing the gym plus the practice. So at minimum, I'll relax for a while. Could be playing Magic the Gathering, could be watching a TV show, maybe even a nap. So yeah, or hey, if I'm not playing, then maybe watching pickleball. So yeah, a number of things, but the idea is to relax after a difficult training session. So leading into the evening, like most of that after training and practicing and all that, it's mostly just free time, so I can do whatever. But I typically try not to eat dinner too late. I'd say I try to eat by 7 or 8 o'clock at the latest, and usually earlier than that. Dinner wise, there's a ton of options in Austin, so I eat a number of things, but more often than not, it definitely includes some kind of meat or seafood. Big fan of fish, steak, chicken, anything like that. And then after that, again, it's pretty flexible. Got to be in bed by approximately 11 o'clock just because sleep is super important. I take some magnesium from Jigsaw because that definitely helps with sleep, especially if the body needs some recovery. And usually I'll do later in the evening some more protein type stuff if I didn't get enough at dinner, again, just for muscle recovery. And that is about the evening routine that I do.